Come on, son, dig it.
Okay, well, I found out about the audition actually on Playbill. There was a listing for like an EPA for Midsummer Night's Dream at the Classical Theatre of Harlem, which I had heard great things about that company, and Midsummer is one of my all-time favorite shows, period. So I went in for that audition and I gave them like Ariel from The Tempest, which is like a fairy pixie. It was like all over the place, giving you like physicality and stuff, because I really wanted to be considered for Puck in Midsummer, because that's another one of my dream roles. But what's funny is actually I thought it was one of the worst auditions I've ever given, because he had this thing. He was like, you know, we're exploring using different dialects, different accents, and I had just finished doing this show where I used a Rwandan accent. So I was like, I'm gonna go in and give you African, and it came out, and I was like, what am I saying? I was like, this sounds totally wrong. And so I was like in my head judging myself the entire time. But I guess he must have seen some spark of something. They called me back for Hermia, which was awesome. So, you know, I prepared all the Hermia sides, and, you know, was familiar with the show. And when I got to the audition is when he told me that they were exploring possibly going with a female for the role of Lysandra. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I was like, I'm totally on board with that. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I bet you they're going to get cold feet. I bet you they're not going to do that, even though it's a really cool idea. So then when I came for my second callback, I read with a couple different women, like 3 different women, which was really awesome and made me feel super, you know, more confident being able to do it with a bunch of different women, and to see, you know, just to play off of them and all of that. And so it was really funny when I got to rehearsal number 1, and it was none of the women that I auditioned with, but Ito.
Well, actually, I found out about the show through a friend. A friend emailed me and said, you need to audition for this. You need to audition for this. And this was the same friend I went to school with at Columbia, and I'd done Midsummer with as our thesis, and I'd played Titania. And so I auditioned for it, and I was auditioning the whole time as Titania. And so I got called back a couple times as Titania, and met Justin, the director, and it was great. And then finally I got the call from the company manager, and she says, great, you know, you got the part. And I was just like, ah, Titania, again, wonderful. And then she says, you'll be playing Lysandra. And I was like, wow, that's great, all right, thanks, bye. Hang up. What? Because I have done the play before. I've read the play like maybe no less than 22 times, and it took me like hanging up the phone, walking a few blocks down the street, and then stopping and being like, wait, whoa, there is no character such as Lysandra. So I actually call her back, and I'm like, I mean, you might have been mistaken, but I know you told me I had a role, but like, I know there's no Lysandra in the play. And she was like laughing. She's like, oh, you're so funny, you're so funny. You're right, there is no role like that. And I was like, okay. And so she explains to me, she's like, we're actually going to play with a gay couple, and so you are going to be Lysandra. Yeah, so I'd done it for my thesis, and then I did Titania.
But should I say, this is my first time doing a Shakespearean play ever. I almost hate to admit that, but.
So I've done that then, and then I also did Midsummer when I was in high school.
I've done mostly musical theater. This is really my first play ever. But don't tell anybody.
Is there something different about this familiar story being told by people of color?
I would say so. You know, we've taken it in a different direction. This show has been done so many times, and like, you know, it's people trying to make it a modern day creation. I think that what's cool, our director has he's assembled a cast of all Black and Latina actors, and it takes place in Harlem. I mean, we're performing the show in Harlem at the Richard Rodgers Amphitheater in Marcus Garvey Park. And it's a show for the community, and it's like we are inhabitants of this community. So, you know, there's all these different accents, people of different cultures, Jamaican, West Indies, Puerto Rican, like, so I think that that adds an extra special element. And then also what's really cool is that he's taken, you know, there's like two different worlds. There's the fairy world, and then there's also the human world. So while the humans that might be from, you know, different backgrounds or whatever, the fairies, he's added this extra element where it's like African diaspora gods and spirit world that like Eshu, our Puck is actually, we're calling him Eshu instead of Puck or Robin Goodfellow. And so he's taken that element and brought it into the fairy world, which makes it even more mystical and I think even more deeply rooted in a way. So I think that's pretty cool.
I mean, by the very fact that we have, you know, West Indian accents, Jamaican accents, you know, and this kind of West African dance and this style, this world we're creating, by the very fact that we're doing that, we are placing it in a world, and we are placing it in a very ethnic world. You know, it's not white people couldn't do this show. You know, and so I mean, by that very fact, it is going to be different. You know, it's going to be very different. But I mean, in terms of where it resonates, if it tells a different story, I don't know. I mean, maybe Shakespeare would say that it tells the same story, just in a different voice. What has surprised you the most about working with me?
Well, since you asked, I have to say, I think that like we just hit it off from the beginning, which was really, really nice because we're both in this like strange position where we're playing lesbians for the first time, right? Yeah. It was my first time definitely playing lesbian, and you know, we're both straight. Yeah. Which like is totally cool.
You should describe what happened today.
What?
With the boyfriends.
Well, so we've been like figuring out how to make it work, right? Maybe we'll talk about that. But like, you know, we both had a little bit of a concern when it came to telling our parents about us playing lesbians, and so I think like, you know, we both kind of had that voice in the back of our head, like what are they gonna think? Are they gonna disapprove? And I know you definitely had issues with that, and for me, it took me until my parents booked their flight to come to New York when I was like, oh, by the way, I'm playing lesbian, which they took it actually better than I had expected. And also what I think is funny is that they haven't really talked about it much in the press so far.
Yeah, that's true.
I haven't heard any mention of it, so I feel like we're trying to make it like a non-issue in a sense, you know, it's still the same story, there's no lines changed that, you know, explain that in any other way. So, and in the same way, we're kind of handling it in the same vein, you know, it's not really changing all that much, we don't have to like do anything extra special. It's like falling in love or being in love as you would with anyone else on stage, so it's been kind of nice. And Ito. What has surprised you most about working with me?
Well, since you ask, I think kind of along the same vein. What surprised me was how easy it was to talk about my traditional guilt in regards to playing a lesbian. And I say traditional guilt because a lot of it has to do with, I mean, being raised by West African parents who are very conservative and they see things a certain way. And you know, it's almost like my parents, they won't come see me in something if I'm playing a hooker. You know, it's just things like that have to do with sensuality, sexuality. They're like, let's just not do it. We'll just not.
That's my baby girl. I can't go there.
Yeah. I mean, like, I played Mrs. Lovett in Sweeney Todd, and my dad saw the show and was like deeply disturbed by the fact that I was playing, as he said, a cannibal. How can you play a cannibal? And I was like, Daddy,
what's that?
A cannibal, somebody who eats people.
Cannibal.
So, yeah, I know, right? Like, it was an issue. Like, we had to talk about it. We had to talk this out. And he was like, no, the music was great, but a cannibal. And it was like one of those moments I was like, wow, like, I have to be really careful with you, you know? And the thing is, they're my parents, and it's okay, you know? It's all right if they don't see me in everything. And I think what surprised me working with you is that how easy it was just to be like, you know what? I'm having a frustrating day because like I'm dealing with traditional guilt today. Traditional guilt is on the stage. It's on the stage right now. And it's acting with me, and that's where we are today. We work so well together just because it's like kindred spirits, that thing of just like, sister from another mother. And like one of the things is sometimes you do get stuck, like you were just saying, and you feel like you just need something to just shake it up. Because the fact is that it took us, what, maybe like 10 minutes to figure out like the best way to like stage like a kissing scene, you know? And so sometimes you just need to be like, okay, you're gonna be my boyfriend. I'm gonna be your boyfriend. Like,
and this is gonna happen naturally.
And go, right? And we're like, but it's great because you have that kind of chemistry and you're able to like do it badly and then find a way to do it better over the course of,
and talk about it openly.
Yeah, and to be like, that didn't feel right.
Right.
That felt really dumb. You know, and like
go in a different direction. HalleMorse.com is my website. Please follow me at Halle Morse on Twitter and Instagram. I have an Instagram. I don't use it all that much, but Halle Morse.
Nice, nice. You guys can always find me at theoverachievingliar.com. It's my blog. Or you can find me at my website, itoaghayere.com. Or on Twitter at overachievingliar.
Bye. Bye. We run to the 30th at Marcus Garvey Park up in Harlem. So please come check it out. It'll be well worth it, I promise.